Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffee Nuance with yours truly, Tom Coffee. Today is June 29th, 2023. And my name's Tom Coffee. We're at Coffee and Nuance. That's right. Streaming live every day. YouTube and on Rumble. Rumble.com/coffee-nuance/live. Today we are talking about the controversial Supreme Court ruling that just sent shockwaves through the halls of academia. Academia? There we go. That's right. The end of affirmative action at colleges. What's going on here? Just checking in. There we go. We're live. Good. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Tom, you're a classical hippie liberal. How can you see this as a blessing in disguise? Well, let me try to tell you why. You see, affirmative action was initially put into place with good intentions. It aimed to level the playing field and provide opportunities for historically marginalized communities. But over time, it's become a complex and divisive issue. It's no longer about equalizing opportunities. It's morphed into a system that perpetuates its own form of discrimination. Affirmative action, in its current form, often relies on race as the sole determining factor for admission. But here's the problem. It unintentionally perpetuates the various stereotypes it seeks to dismantle. I'm using their vocabulary. It implies that certain races need preferential treatment to succeed, reinforcing the notion of inherent differences in intellectual abilities. Yikes. Now, I understand the counter-arguments. We still have disparities in education, income, opportunities based on race. And I agree. But it's not just the system. And affirmative action in its current form is not the solution. It treats the symptoms rather than tackling the root causes of inequality. Now, by removing race as a factor in college admissions, we force institutions to find alternative ways to promote diversity. Trust me, they will. Okay? Universities are creative. They're innovative places. They will find new ways to ensure that their student bodies reflect the diverse tapestry of our society. Furthermore, this ruling forces us to focus on improving K-12 education for all students and improve the quality of education across the board. By doing so, we empower individuals from every background to compete on a level playing field, regardless of race. And let's not forget the unintended consequences of affirmative action. There have been cases where students from disadvantaged backgrounds who were admitted through affirmative action struggled to keep up with their peers, dropped out. This created a disservice to those students who deserve equal opportunities to succeed and thrive academically. So, while the end of affirmative action may seem like a setback to some, it might just be the wake-up call we need. It challenges us to find new and better ways to achieve a more equal education. Now, let's shift our focus from superficial diversity quotas to creating a society where everyone has an equal chance to excel. Now, remember, it's okay to have a nuanced perspective on complex issues. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Okay, so big news today, y'all. Big news. The Supreme Court's ruled that affirmative action admission policies at Harvard and University of North Carolina are unconstitutional. The decision is a significant setback for efforts to increase the enrollment of racial minorities at American universities. Chief Justice John Roberts joined by his conservative colleagues, stating that the affirmative action programs of both universities involve racial stereotyping, employ race in a negative manner, and lack meaningful endpoints. The majority argued that these policies violated the Equal Protection Clause under the 14th Amendment. In dissent, liberal justices Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor expressed their disappointment, with Sotomayor remarking that the ruling rolls back decades of progress. The decision, applied to separate cases, involves Harvard and UNC, with the votes being 6-2 and 6-3, respectively. So this is a big news. Didn't think this would come about. Didn't think this would come about, but bit of a surprise. Bit of a surprise. I kind of thought that this would just be part of things. I guess the pendulum has finally stopped swinging. Now, the thing is, the big issue with affirmative action at colleges is that it reduces people to the color of their skin. And it doesn't take into all of the, they talk about intersectionality. You're this and you're this and you're this and you're this, and we're all very complex. But this was just reducing it down to a very simple, how dark is your skin, right? Pretty much. And that's not good. That's certainly not good. And in fact, it's not helping those that it's designed to help. Often it can do the exact opposite. Now, my advice to any kid that is going to go to college, if you're going to go to college, don't be at the bottom of the class. Don't be the one that just barely squeaks in there, because you're going to have a really hard time. Now, yeah, if you can get into Harvard or something, if you can squeak into something like that, sure, go for it. But just your regular average state school or, private school, you don't want to be at the very bottom of your class, because then you're not going to get the opportunities that the average student and the above average student and the excellent student will get. You're not going to be getting those internships. You're not going to be getting the job offers. The people at the very bottom of the abilities or the experience, whatever you want to call it, are just not going to get those things. And so that's one of the issues, is if you artificially create these classes with people with vastly different abilities, the people at the bottom are going to have a real hard time with it. And I've seen this firsthand. I know this firsthand. I squeaked into a college. I probably, because I had good scores, so I was able to get in to things that I probably wouldn't have got in had I not had a really high score. Okay. And because of that, I was near the bottom of the class in my business school. Now, if I had a different racial makeup, I could have gone into a much better school. And guess what? I would have been even further down. I would have been even further at the bottom of the class. And that would not have worked out well for me. That's just a different perspective on this. And I'll give you one more example, and this doesn't necessarily involve race, but what it does is it's an example that things are more complex, and oversimplifying things doesn't really work. I remember when I was going to undergraduate school, and I applied for student aid. And my parents are still married. And at the time, they didn't have any debt. And their house was paid off, right? They worked really hard to make that happen. Well, it didn't matter what their income was. What mattered is they had too many assets. And so I didn't qualify for anything. Nothing at all. They said, oh, your parents can just take out loans. You get nothing. Then my friend Jerry, Tom and Jerry, right? Same school. He got all kinds of grants. Why? Because his parents were divorced. Now, his dad was a multimillionaire. In fact, it was fun going to his house because he had this great house. He had an extra building next to his house, which was the garage where he housed like 6 classic cars. So he had a separate building built for his classic cars that he collected. He was worth millions and millions of dollars, right? But Jerry applied for undergraduate under his mom, who was a florist. Now, she was doing quite well because she was divorced and getting that money. But she didn't make that much at all, right? So he could apply and use her, and he got all kinds of grants. Well, that doesn't seem right, does it? No, it doesn't. Because things are more complex and than just what someone's income is or just what someone's skin color is. You know? Why should the Obama's daughters get extra points when they're applying to school that a poor kid in the country living on a farm wouldn't get those because they just happen to have different skin tones? Things are more complex and nuanced than just reducing things down to race. And so I think that this is good. This does not mean the end of diversity in universities. That's ridiculous. They're just going to have to get a little more creative and try to find new ways to serve American students better. Yeah. So that's my take on it. I know that it is not everybody's take on it, and it doesn't have to be your take either. That's okay. Although I'm sure this show would be a lot more popular if I said, damn it, this is the way you should think, because I'm right, and you don't know anything, so just follow me. But that's not really who I am. Yeah. So I picked out a couple stories to talk about today, and be sure to stick around for the after show, because in the after show, I've talked about a little nest that is on my porch, and I have a little video where I'm going to show you that nest. So I'll have that in the after show. But let's get to the news today. What do we got here? Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Coming up right now. I swear this is news. Did you hear about the Grimace Shake trend on TikTok? It's like McDonald's version of Russian roulette. You take a sip and suddenly you're pretending to be dead or dying. Here's the story, and I think this is just, we got to lighten it up a little bit, right? The Grimace Shake trend on TikTok has gained significant popularity with millions of views under the hashtag Grimace Shake. In these videos, individuals pretend to try the new Grimace Shake and then show dramatic scenes of themselves appearing dead, unconscious, or dying in an unusual location. The trend often includes the contents of the shake being depicted as vomit or purple blood. Despite the alarming visuals, the trend is purely humorous and absurd, reflecting on the unique style of humor found on TikTok. There's no actual danger associated with the Grimace Shake, but you knew that. So I've just been seeing this. I don't have TikTok, but this kind of sounds fun. I think maybe I'm, it would be fun. I have not been to McDonald's since 93. But this sounds fun. You get a purple shake and then you spill it on yourself and pretend to be dead. I love these stories where they're just kind of an excuse to do something silly, to do something different. I like it. I like it. And was this organic, or was this dreamt up by a McDonald's marketing executive? I think it was organic. That would be my guess. But boy, if some marketing exec came up with that, kudos to them, because that's genius. That's genius. Anyway, you can search for this online and see it. It's really funny. They say, oh, I'll just give you a little example. Oh, I got the McDonald's Grimace Shake. It looks pretty good. I wonder what it tastes like. Sip, sip, sip. Cut scene. And then they're hanging from a basketball hoop with purple shake all over them. Or they're sprawled out in front of a vehicle, like they've just been hit by a vehicle with the shake all over them. It's fun. And you know what? Sometimes we just need some fun. Little distraction is okay now and again. But, and I say that because the next story, it's pretty serious. Paris is on fire. Paris is looking like, post-George Floyd summer 2020 is what's been happening out there. Yeah, so did you hear about the French Interior Minister calling for calm after violent protests over a teenager's death at the hands of police? Yeah, he's telling everyone to stay calm. As if that's the French way. I mean, when was the last time you saw a French person calmly protesting? It's like asking a mime to speak up. So here's the story. French Interior Minister Gerard Darmanin urged for calm following a night of violent protests over the death of a teenager at the hands of police in the Paris suburb. The 17-year-old driver was shot and killed by a police officer during a traffic check. The officer had been detained on suspicion of manslaughter. The incident's under investigation by the local prosecutor's office and the Inspector General of the National Police. Lawyers representing the victim's family plan to file complaints against the officers involved, obviously. The teenager's death led to unrest, with clashes between protesters and riot police, multiple vehicle and building fires, and arrests. The violence has been condemned, and he announced an increased police presence, while President Emmanuel Macron emphasized the need for calm and expressed solidarity with the victim's family. So this is another one of these things that didn't have to happen. This didn't have to happen. I'm not blaming the victim. However, you can actually watch this. They're having traffic stops, and this kid, obviously a kid, not old enough to be driving the vehicle that he had. He was 17. He was an immigrant. I guess that's important to the story that the New York Times doesn't want to mention for whatever reason. Didn't have a driver's license. Was stopped by police. The police, this is it, right here. Let's see. Right here. That's it. He'd borrowed this yellow Mercedes, and they told him, hey, turn off the car. Get out of the car. I mean, they did it in French, but they were pointing the gun at him. They said, if you drive, we will shoot you in the head. That's what he said. He said, try me. I'll shoot you in the head. Get out of the car. And what did this kid do? He just gunned it. He just stepped on the gas. Now, was he going to hit them? I mean, the one officer was kind of leaning on the car, but, it just kind of knocked him to the side. But then they shot him. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't have shot him. Perhaps. Someone's pointing a gun at your head. Tells you to turn off the car, and you choose not to do that. I'm not excusing it. What did you think would happen? What did you think would happen? I would assume if I were pulled over and a cop got up in my face and told me to turn off my car, and he said, if you drive off, I will shoot you in the head, I might take him at his word. But that's just me. I'm not making any excuses for the cops. But I don't know what anyone would expect to happen. Now, you can say maybe we should have a system where cops aren't pointing guns at people's heads. Okay. Sure. But given the situation, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want to happen. I don't know. But now, the suburbs that are in this area have just kind of gone nuts, and everybody's out running around, knocking cars over, setting them on fire, setting buildings on fire, just rampaging through the streets. And I don't know. I didn't like it when it was done here. I didn't like it for the entire 100 nights of protests about George Floyd here in Portland, where over $1 billion of damage, property damage, was done. Didn't like it then. I don't like it in Paris either. That's just me. I think we can protest without turning cars over and setting them on fire. But I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. And let's get to another story. Retailers are using facial recognition to catch shoplifters. It's like a real-life game of hide and seek with a 99% chance of getting caught. Yeah, so here's the story. Facial recognition technology is increasingly being used by private businesses, such as retailers, to identify shoplifters, problematic customers, and legal adversaries. One company, FaceWatch, that's an ominous name. They offer a facial recognition program that alerts store staff when a flagged individual enters any shop using the system. The technology has been deployed nearly 400 stores across Britain and is seen as a cost-effective solution to combat theft. While the use of facial recognition by government agencies has faced scrutiny, its application by retailers has received less attention. However, critics argue that using facial recognition for minor crimes is a disproportionate solution and raises concerns about privacy and potential misidentification. FaceWatch has faced instances of mistaken identity where innocent individuals were wrongly flagged as shoplifters, prompting concerns about lack of human discretion in the system. So supporters of facial recognition in retail argue that it helps deter crime and reduces loss for businesses operating on thin profit margins. So that is the thing. I don't think anyone is really, I don't want Big Brother. I don't want facial recognition everywhere. But you know what I would like? I would like the retail stores in my neighborhood to stay open. There was a grocery store near me that years ago, there were so many homeless that were going through here, just walking out with things. They ended up just closing the grocery store. They could not operate because the shoplifting was so great. There's a thrift store that I go to, and all of the thrift stores, all the Goodwills in Portland now have security guards. Security guards at a freaking thrift store. That's ridiculous. That means they have to charge everyone that goes to the thrift store. And this is for charity, right? I mean, kind of for charity. Goodwill takes some of the profits and uses them for good things. Like paying the president of the company like hundreds of thousands of dollars. But they actually do some good things, some job training and different things like that for the community. But now everybody has to pay more for a used Aloha shirt, right? You want to buy an Aloha shirt? Well, we got to jack that up a couple bucks. Why? Because of shoplifting. So I have mixed feelings about this. But I do think that any retail shop should be allowed to keep out anyone that they've caught shoplifting. And they say, no, we don't want you back. Ever. 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 I'm okay with that. Now, if they're using the facial recognition where they're using it to track every single person that comes into the store and whatnot, I got an issue with that. But if the system is only identifying people that have been put into the system that they have caught on camera shoplifting from them, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I don't want those people in the store. You know, I think I've seen people walk out with stuff, and I have been hesitant to stop them. In fact, one of the stores, you know, a guy grabbed a bunch of stuff, and he was heading toward the door, and I was right there. He had to walk right by me, and I really wanted to just clothesline him, you know, just like a. And I had 100 pounds on him. It wouldn't have been that big a deal. But the thing that rushed into my head is like, well, this is going to be a problem for me. I'm probably not going to be allowed to come back to the store again. You know, I like shopping here. I don't want to get kicked out forever because I, you know, tried to stop this, clearly this drug addict that was just, you know, stealing retail merchandise for his next fix. So, you know, what do you do? So, yeah, I guess I don't have a whole lot of, you know, I don't know, make your bed, you lie in it. You get caught shoplifting and they don't want you back in their store. Well, tough. Pound sand, right? Whew, man, I'm sounding like a grumpy old man today. I swear I'm not. Well, let's get to some good news. Yeah, living near green spaces can add 2.5 years to your life. Move over kale smoothies. The real secret to longevity is becoming a neighbor to Mother Nature. So here's the story. Living near green spaces may increase life expectancy by an average of 2.5 years, according to a study published by Science Advances. The research examined over 900 individuals in 4 U.S. cities and found that long-term exposure to greenery resulted in detectable biological changes in blood samples. Biological age, influenced by lifestyle choices, was used to assess the risk of age-related diseases. While more research is needed to understand the specific mechanisms, the study emphasizes the importance of incorporating nature into daily life and urban planning for improved health outcomes. So, again, it's like yesterday when I was talking about do life hacks work? Well, they do if you think they do, often. And these kinds of studies may not be the most sound because there's a lot of selection bias in it. You know, for example, I live next to a really big green space. Okay? Now, and so perhaps, you know, the people that have lived right next to this green space, they might do better. But here's the thing. Who buys a house next to a huge green space? Probably someone that's important to, someone that's going to use that, right? Because you're paying a premium, you know. If, let's say you live next to a golf course, for example, well, you're going to pay a premium for that, okay? So you wouldn't be paying the premium to have access to that if that weren't important to you. And if it's important to you to use a green space, you're going to be more active, and it's probably going to have a result of having better outcomes on life expectancy. Does that mean that being next to the big park or the golf course, does that Not necessarily, right? I don't know that we can actually conclude that, but maybe there's something to it. And I just want to encourage you to think that there might be something to that. And if you think that that is true, then you will go out into green spaces more often. And I think if you do that, life is going to be better. You're going to be a calmer person. You're going to get a little bit more exercise. Those are all good things. And consequently, it will be good for your health if you do that. So, is this study really true? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But I believe it. And I think you should want to believe it too. That's what I think. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments on YouTube and on Rumble. And I'm going to show you the little nest on my porch. But I will be back tomorrow. It's a Friday, Fact Check Friday. I'll see you then. Peace. Hey, everybody. So here we are today. Boom. How about that? You see down here in the corner, I have D Live. I thought I would start streaming on D Live to see if I could build up any kind of audience over there, but it is not working. So I signed up for the whole thing and I went through and I'm looking and it still has connecting on my streaming software. So didn't quite work out today. Oh well. I am going to get to your comments, but first let me show you. Here is the nest that is on my porch. It's up kind of in the rafters on the porch, and you can see some good camera work there, Tom. You can see the blue eggs. There's blue eggs. There's probably half a dozen. Now, I did some looking for that. When I originally went up, the bird just flew out and didn't look good on camera, so I had to do it again. But I did a little, I did look it up, and I believe this is a European starling, is the name of the bird. It's made a little nest on my back porch, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna look for a little. I got some little cameras, little tiny spy cameras that I could put up there, and might try to record that. That might be kind of cool. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But on the app that I talked about before, I think it was called Merlin, right? Yeah, Merlin. This app that identifies birds, based on the chirping, they said that this was a European starling, and then I looked up European starlings, and they do have small, tiny, small blue eggs, so I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. All right, let's get to the chat. So, the Twitter takes regarding the Supreme Court decision are chef's kiss. So I will have to check that out. I was looking at Twitter beforehand, and boy, there were some terrible takes on it. Gavin Newsom was just kind of, hair was on fire, screaming, "See, we live in white supremacy," and all this kind of crap. AOC's take was, she said, well, if you cared about that, you'd do away with legacy. And she cited some statistics, and let me just say, I don't think she wants to look at all the statistics, because they would be the opposite of the point that she was trying to make. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go through that again. This just broke this morning, so I didn't have a lot of time to look into what everyone was saying about it. Probably Native American Elizabeth Warren ended the point of affirmative action. Exactly. Says Longborough says, my parents were broke and divorced. I ended up getting a Pell Grant, Minnesota State Grant, and a scholarship for University of Minnesota. I also had to take care of a $10,000 loan. Well, congratulations. That is the way that it should work, right? Grants should be for people that actually need them. My friend Jerry got grants. Yeah. And like I said, he was it would not be unfair to categorize his house as a mansion. Let's just put it that way. A nice shirt today, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Longborough, thank you for the $10 tip, and you put up the American flag. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. That is great. I am very pro-America. In fact, I have an American flag in my Twitter bio. Let people know about that. I went to the mall today, and it was a wasteland. There were lots of security guards, however. Interesting. The mall was practically empty. Most of the stores were closed. Yeah, there's a lot of that happening. And it's one of the things, like when you have to have a security guard for a thrift store. You know, I go to like a discount grocery store, and they have a security guard, and it's just like, that adds to the cost of doing business, right? And it's really unfair to everybody, because in the end, right, the consumer is the one that pays for it. Yeah, not good. Let's see. Natasha was the first one in here today. Nice to see you. The way to stop racial discrimination is to stop discriminating racially. I agree. That's what you do, right? Racial discrimination has given general discrimination a bad name. It has, you know, and the thing is, everyone should discriminate. Discriminating is an important part of being alive, right? We need to discriminate what looks like good food versus what is spoiled food, right? We discriminate against spoiled food. Discrimination is keeping you alive. But yes, the word now has a really negative connotation. I found a funny video of that Grimace Shake thing. I'll pop it into the Discord. That's right, we are on Discord, and link in the description if you want to sign up on Discord. Lots going on there, so you can check that out if you wish. But yeah, this Grimace Shake thing, I just thought it was funny, and sometimes we just need something light. And you know what? If you just need a little mood boost, or you want to laugh, just look up get on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and search for Grimace Shake. And it's just a bunch of kids having fun, spilling a milkshake on themselves in a different way, in a silly way. And you know what? Sometimes we've just got to have some fun. So that's cool. Konnichiwa, mine amigos. Nice to see you, Bastille. Nice. Nice haircut. Yeah, and the dad thing would be, I got them all cut. But actually, you see this little dark area that was, it may look like hair, but it's actually dark from, I had to have some stuff cut out of my forehead there. Yeah. If shops conspired to keep shoplifters out via facial recognition, that would be awesome. Yeah, I agree. Natasha says you should have clotheslined him. That might have given you a gift card. Well, I was actually at a Goodwill, and you know, I was standing by the exit, and I saw, and he just, it was like new merchandise that they had, and he just grabbed like a whole rack of it and was just like making a beeline for the door. And I don't know. It's tough. It's tough today to step in and do anything. And in many ways, it's just not worth it to me. Now, I think if someone were in danger or something like that, I'd be more apt to step in. Just merchandise, I'm not gonna have it affect my life just because some junkie is stealing some stuff. But yeah, tough. Hiking in the Smokies adds years to one's life. I've never been to the Smoky Mountain, but I've heard some songs about that. Nest video, nice. I have lots of cardinals living around my house. That's pretty cool. Your friend Jerry played the system. He absolutely played the system. And that was the thing, is there's a lot of people that play the system. And that's what you do, right? You look for advantages and you do them. And some people have different ethics than other people, right? But, you know, a lot of people do that. And I was really disappointed in him for doing that. But, you know, I just let it go. But I did think it was kind of shitty to do that, because in many ways he was taking grants that might have been given to people that really needed them, and he definitely didn't need it. He, you know, so but what are you gonna do? That's how it is sometimes. Anyway, I appreciate you all so much. I will be back tomorrow for a Fact Check Friday. And I'm going to try it again on D Live. If you don't know about D Live, they're just another platform for streaming. I just wanted to check it out, see what it was like. It's dlive.tv is the platform. But, yeah, I didn't get it working. So, I'll keep trying. I'll try for tomorrow. Anyway, y'all have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Peace.